Hey guys, shout out to Alex and his team at Retrogold 63 for letting me share this cool interview with Steven Seagal talking about their release, Retrogold 63, of Driven to Kill. Seagal also talks about his early martial arts training and a whole lot more. Retrogold 63, by the way, they're the team that did this amazing poster for Bloodstorm upcoming release, and we actually have plans to do a film together. So I got a really great relationship with Alex and his team at Retrogold. And make sure to check out their site, especially if you're in the German territory. They do all kinds of amazing releases out there with action and martial arts films.
Hello action movie fans, hello friends of Retrogold 63. My name is Christian Ladewig and today I'm honored to interview the legendary Steven Seagal for our release of his great movie Driven to Kill. Steven, as you know, first conquered Japan, then he conquered Hollywood. He's an accomplished Aikido practitioner, a sensei even, and a great champion of the blues. Thank you very much to Dan Delts for making this interview possible. Enjoy.
Hi, Steven. Thank you very much for taking the time for us. My name's Christian, and we have a few questions prepared for you for our release of Driven to Kill, which we very much like. I think it's one of your greatest movies of the current era, so to speak. And
you want to hear something that's funny? Is I have no idea what movie that is because they change the titles all the time, so I don't even know what movie it is.
Ruslan. It's Ruslan.
Oh, Ruslan? Yeah, okay, yeah, thank you. I like that movie too.
It's really, really fine. Yes, we got questions about the old times as well. If you would like to answer them. Of course, step in anytime if you don't want to talk about those things. Yes, when you moved to Japan in your youth at the age of 17, were there any personal challenges you had to overcome when you took this journey, or would you encourage others to take such risks to pursue their dreams?
Well, I had been in Japan in my early youth, and I had been studying Japanese language and Japanese martial arts since I was quite young, from probably the age of 7 or 8. So by the time I went there to live was late 60s, early 70s. I was kind of ready, in every way. And so it wasn't that much of a challenge for me. Just something surprised me. There is some, I don't like the word racism, but there is a lot of xenophobia, or used to be a lot of xenophobia, and a little bit of, kind of not really liking outsiders to come in and stuff like that. But that didn't really cause me that much difficulty as much as it surprised me.
That's you played in bands before you went over there, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
We want to talk about your music later, which is an issue very near and dear to my heart. What was your biggest challenge for yourself in the martial arts, and how did you become the first non-Japanese man to run a dojo over there?
Well, I think that the biggest challenge was, of course, that inside the different dojos there were other students who didn't really want foreigners to compete with them or surpass them in terms of rank or technique or anything else. And so there was a lot of this competition, which I, in some ways viewed as healthy and in some ways viewed as, difficult. And there was a little bit of suffering going on there from time to time. I had met a woman who was living in Osaka, and I kind of, got into a close relationship with her, got her pregnant, we got married, and she, in her family, had a dojo, and there's a lot of funny, ridiculous rumors, in my life, and one of them was that her father owned the dojo. Her father died of alcoholism when she was a baby. I'm not even sure if she ever met her father. I don't think she ever even met him. So, this was a situation where then there was another individual who was teaching there, and he turned out to be sort of an unsavory person and kind of tried to, starve them out of the dojo, kick them out of the dojo, and he had other affiliates that were, possibly organized crime. And I ended up kind of going against him and them and got rid of him and then took over the dojo, and that's kind of how that happened.
Mm-hmm. It's the rumor situation is just too stupid. Really, I don't get this at all. It's this envy towards you. It's probably only an envy issue. But
well, jealous is probably a better word than envy.
They say that you didn't want to be a movie star or do movies at all in the first place. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, that was never on my mind. I really loved being a martial artist.
Uh-huh.
I loved having great teachers. I prided myself on being able to go around Japan and find the greatest teachers in Aikido, Jiu-Jitsu, Aikijitsu, sword, karate, and have continued to study this day. I then really ended up using all of my different knowledge from the different masters and the different paths to kind of form my own kind of fighting and my own kind of technique. This became mixed martial arts before anybody knew the word mixed martial arts. And
yes.
That was the kind of thing that we were doing, so...
Yes, when you did your early movies, were you already planning to put in like the ecological messages which you put in some later movies, which I dearly love? For example, On Deadly Ground, Fire Down Below, or the Patriot. I love those movies, especially because of the environmentally conscious messages you give there. That's so great and so unusual. Were you planning this when you started movies already?
Yes, I mean, they were. I can remember On Deadly Ground, I went to the president of Warner Brothers and I said, I'm tremendously passionate about the environment and I want to make an environmental movie. Of course, then I was making them so much money, they didn't say no to me and wouldn't say no to me. And I think I'm still to date the only, that I know of anyway, the only actor that's done 2 or 3 major environmental movies, and so I was way ahead of my time, but people tend to, ignore and forget about those things.
So, yes, it's like you say that environmental part of you is totally forgotten. Nobody likes to talk about this. There was a little write up in a German newspaper for your birthday last year, whether they talked about the contradicting sides of you. There they even they at least mentioned that, what I found really great, because it's, I think, a really important part of your persona, isn't it?
I mean, I'm not really sure exactly what you're saying, but what jealous people will do is they'll take an interview that's been manipulated, words removed and things taken out of context and things, the order moved in such a way that it changes the meaning. And that kind of thing, of course, happens, especially when you have jealous people or enemies out there. So they'll take something like that and they'll say, well, in 1969, Steven said that he did this, but in reality, in 1969, he did that. And so there's these kind of people out there who just have a great time. They make their living off this. And Dan Delts was very, clever to say, people who have 3 followers do, some kind of a hate piece on me, and all of a sudden they have 30,000 followers. So it's just this kind of skullduggery that makes life kind of, disappointing, but sometimes, just things that we have to go through. So I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about, when you say there's this kind of dichotomy. I don't really know what you mean when you're saying that.
No, I don't see that dichotomy. That's it's like you said. It's even in hit piece or hate pieces in newspapers or on the internet. This one managed to talk about your environmental issues and your conscience side. That's just what I meant about that.
I see. Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's like what they're doing to Trump now. There's always some very clever. See, I don't think that journalists are journalists anymore. I don't think there's any such thing as real media and real journalism anymore. I think it's all people who are just out there to try to make as much money as they can or exact vengeance on people that they don't like or whatever. I think real journalism died about 10 years ago.
It's perfectly right about that. It's the same over here. It's journalists either on the side of corporations or on the side of the government, and no opinion anymore. It's really stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I was doing an interview with Tucker Carlson a couple of years ago, and then somebody mysteriously pulled the plug because I was in Russia, and so the interview didn't finish. But what I was saying that didn't get aired was that, speaking about America, who is it's a country I still love. I just, don't go there anymore, and for obvious reasons. But I mean, I believe that the biggest enemy of Russia, the biggest enemy of Russia is, of course, America, only in the sense that fake news and mass media has created this illusion and delusion, and sometimes that becomes a reality. Like Adolf Hitler's main PR man used to say to him over and over again, tell a lie enough times and it becomes the truth. Not that people believe it, but it becomes the truth. And so, what I said to Tucker Carlson, I said, the greatest enemy of the United States of America is coming from within. And I think Abraham Lincoln talked about that hundreds of years ago. He said, if America gets defeated, it will be from within. And that's really what's happening, because it's not the narco cartels, the Mexican mafia, Islamic terrorism. It's none of that. The main enemy of the United States of America that's destroying it is really the media, the press, the fake press, because they are annihilating any chance for the people to ever understand anything about what's actually going on. And it divides people, because then they, manipulate people, and so many people still believe what they read, and they believe what they see on the news. So it's a mess right now.
Most definitely. It's fascinating for me to hear an American also talk about this, or see it like this, like you see it, because you have the distance of not living there anymore. But it's an opinion one doesn't hear too often, actually. But you're perfectly right, of course. Okay, yes, it's a sad topic, actually. Maybe I could ask you something about your music. Um, when I listen to your songs and see you play, and correct me if I'm wrong, do you like the Grateful Dead?
Well, I knew and got to play with and grew up with most of the great blues legends. I was a blues guy, and there are, of course, many people who are greater than me that, learned from a record, and they became very famous people. But I didn't learn from a record. I learned on the porch, in Detroit, where most of these blues legends had come out of the Deep South to work in Detroit, because that's where the work was. And so they'd come out of the cotton fields and the coal mines, and particularly the cotton fields, and came out of Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Memphis, all those places. And first they came into Detroit area, and so I I got to listen to them playing on the porch as a child and started trying to learn how to play back then. So I was very close with, Gabe Moth Brown, and got to learn, from him, with him, Albert Collins, and was lucky enough to, play with B.B. King, and I played with B.B. King 1,000 times, and, I knew Albert King and Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf and, all those guys. And so I'm really a blues guy. I tried to do one album which was a mix of everything, of world, of pop, of everything, but it wasn't something that I really felt that I, captured, and I wanted to then just sort of stick with the blues. I didn't know Jerry Garcia, whereas, most of the blues guys from Memphis and Mississippi, I knew all of them. Grateful Dead, I really did not know them at all. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Great about the blues guys. Albert Collins, Albert King. Oh, it's really great. Born Under a Bad Sign. I love that record very, very much.
Yeah, I have all those guitars too. I have all of Albert King's Flying V's. And, I have most of the Blues Legends guitars that either they gave to me or I ended up being able to buy after they died. So I have quite a blues collection. It's a real museum,
Wow, so the guitars are at the right place now, I think.
Yeah, they're all kind of hidden right now because I'm trying to prepare a traveling museum,
Oh, that's a cool idea, actually, really.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you, when you did movies with hip hop musicians, and they still talk greatly about you, that they liked working with you and are fans. Did you talk about music to them, or do you have an interest in hip hop as well?
Well, to be honest with you, the only guy I can sort of remember working with was Ja Rule. And that's a kind of a foreign world to me, hip hop and all that stuff. So I don't really remember talking music to those guys at all. Yeah.
Yes, I could imagine. Just one of the guys here asked me to ask you that question. I told them that you're probably not too much of a hip hop head.
No, it's a pretty foreign world to me, actually. Yeah.
I personally understand that. How important do you think music is, or the soundtrack is, for the impact of a movie? We talked to other directors about that, and of course they all hold this in very high esteem.
I think music can make or break a movie. It's that important.
Exactly. Are you planning on doing another record? Because I got a big record collection, and I'm really look forward to that.
I do have it all somewhere. I have, almost 90% done of a new record. I just don't know if I'll ever get around to doing it with the way my life is right now. I'm a diplomat. I'm a Russian diplomat, and I'm very, very busy trying to end this war and try to bring people together and, bring people to come to, have meaningful dialogue with each other and come to try to understand each other. And that's just so much more important to me right now.
Definitely, I really hope this all works out, because it's not helping anybody, of course. Stephen, I got to thank you for being so candid with us, and so friendly, of course. And to talk about music to you was a little dream of mine personally. And the Blues Museum story is fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Then we're probably finished.
Do you guys want to ask any questions about Ruslan, or?
Yes, of course. Of course, I just did like a background story interview. Yes. What are your memories about Ruslan?
I've done so many movies, I can't remember all of them very well. I just kind of liked the character, where he is sort of playing this sort of, Russian mafia guy that was a writer and kind of a poet and, a Renaissance man who had grown up in a certain time in a certain place where they had to be kind of, very rough and become some something that really, probably was not him. And so I kind of like the character, and I think some of the scenes in the movie are pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh yes, when you curse at the opponents in Russian, we laughed very hard about the words. It's really funny.
Yeah.
Okay, then we're actually at the end, and we don't want to take more of your valuable time. Thank you very, very much.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time, and it was a pleasure talking to you.